Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will tell you about GTA 6. What if I told you a gaming company, a publishing and developing studio leaked GTA 6's release date? And it's not Rockstar or Take-Two. It's somebody that has nothing to do with GT, a Grand Theft Auto. 6 is getting closer and closer with how much money has been put into the project publisher. Take-Two has started answering quite a few questions to their shareholders and in their investors, and naturally, that information is slowly starting to make its way on the internet, whether they like it or not, now quite a bit, as well as from some other interesting sources, including the Ubisoft CEO, which we're going to talk about. We're going to go over everything you missed about Rockstar's upcoming open-world crime. Sure, you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any future gaming news updates or GTA 6 updates, because we're covering absolutely everything that comes out. And let's talk now. Take-Two recently held an earnings call for investors and shareholders, which meant they had to answer some potentially uncomfortable questions about the relatively mixed financial results of the most recent Quester quarter, which was October to December of 2023. Now, according to Take-Two CEO, profits weren't where they wanted them to be in the last quarter, and this is going to result in a significant reduction in operating cost, which usually means there's layoffs coming to some of Take-Two's development studios, but the CEO then made it clear they're not actually planning on cutting any manpower. Take-Two leader Yves Stelnick stated, "We have no current plans for layoffs. Our biggest line item expense was marketing, so we have to have the opportunity to optimize many expenses that don't involve our headcounts, marketing, and third-party expenses, vendor charges. And I mean, all that can be optimized. We're a big company, so we have always prided ourselves on being the most efficient company in the entertainment business. So rather than cutting people from their staff, Take-Two US instead taking another look at how much money they're spending on various marketing and third-party charges, while also adjusting their net bookings forecast for 2024, which I think this is the best approach possible. Nobody likes seeing people lose their jobs, and I respect that Take-Two is not going down that route in response to wanting to increase their profits. It's actually a feel-good story, which you don't hear much when it comes to big publishing studios. Before we move on, guys, if you still didn't subscribe my channel, if you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Reports also Take-Two directly acknowledge Grand Theft Auto 6, and more specifically the release window. When approached with the topic of GTA 6's release date, the Take-Two CEO simply said, "We're seeking perfection, and when we've optimized that, that's the time to release." The two also declined to reveal their operating budget for fiscal year 2025, which is where GTA 6 is supposed to fall, which I thought was pretty interesting. We know GTA 6 is going to be the most expensive video game ever released, with some industry experts even claiming Take-Two is planning on putting over $2 billion into the project by the time it's all said and done. But it seems that after the less than stellar financial report in this most recent meeting, the CEO probably didn't want to immediately turn around and confirm the sheer amount of money that they've sunk into a game that still doesn't come out for a year or two now. Obviously, we all know GTA 6 is going to make the budget back no matter what, but I do see the logic here from Take-Two's point of view. It just wouldn't be a really good look for them to announce a bunch of cost-cutting plans and budget reductions and then immediately confirm, "Hey, we're spending $2 billion on one game." Then again, Take-Two also once again stated during this meeting that fiscal year 25 is going to be a record high for the revenue, confirming they're expecting to bring in $7 billion in net bookings during that time period. And remember, the Take-Two CEO has publicly confirmed that GTA 6 is launching in fiscal year 2025, they also said when they report their quarter 4 fiscal year 24 results, they'll share more details about their specific expectations and their outlook for fiscal year 25, so they're definitely going to be a bit secretive about the details for that fiscal year, likely because they don't want people like you and me pulling too much information from these meetings and potentially figuring out when GTA 6 is actually going to launch. But all of this comes back to the fact the GTA 6 is certainly scheduled for fiscal year 25, meaning it's not been delayed, likely isn't going to be now. Rockstar has officially released the first trailer. They're committed, we're going people. But another interesting detail that came out of the Take-Two meeting was some internal data that revealed how the Xbox Series and the PS5 are actually doing right now. Sony and Microsoft are usually a bit hesitant to reveal numbers on their consoles. But since Take-Two is planning on releasing GTA 6 on the Xbox and PlayStation, not the PC, they were able to pull some exact numbers on the hardware sales. And according to the meeting, roughly 77 million 9th-gen consoles have been sold. So far, roughly 50 million of those being PS5s, the other 27 million being Xboxes. Now, I know some of you going to take that as an opportunity to start your console war in the comments, but keep it to a minimum, okay? Because the important takeaway here is that GTA 6 is going to launch or go into launch day with at least 77 million potential buyers. That's a big deal because leading up to the reveal of the game, a lot of analysts were expressing concerns about the potential buying base this game would have if Rockstar wasn't making a PS4 or Xbox One 4, which I personally thought was silly. I mean,
don't forget subscribe unique information.
At least 77 million, probably going to be closer to 100 million by the time it launches, is going to be an insane launch week sales. If only 10% of console owners buy GTA 6 on launch day, that's over 7 million copies sold in 24 hours. I think there's a very good chance that buying rate is actually going to be higher than that, and obviously a lot more consoles will be sold between now and that day. Now, in case you needed more evidence that everyone in the industry is confident about GTA 6 regardless of the console sales, the Ubisoft, you heard me right, Ubisoft, see, after the month of March, but that they're actually expecting it to be a good thing for them as well. Despite Ubisoft having nothing to do feeling about the company's 2025 lineup of games now that Rockstar and Take-Two have committed to launching GTA 6 during that year, to panic about Rockstar stealing the spotlights from anything they put out. But surprisingly, the Ubisoft CEO replied, what we've seen in the past is that each time there's a bigger release like GT, there are more and more people coming back to the industry that helps other games to sell. Well, now we see it for sure. We look at this and we're really organizing things around the launch of that game, which we do not know exactly when that's going to happen. We consider it be closer dev financial year 26 than 25, but what we've seen is that generally it's actually positive for the market, and we did a good launch with the launch of GTA 5 and the GTA 5 online game. Each time we were able to generate really good revenue and profit on the games we launch. So basically Ubisoft is excited for GTA 6 because with the massive influx of people playing video games, once it drops, a lot of people are going to be picking up Ubisoft titles around the same time. And while Ubisoft probably doesn't want to launch a game on the same day, of course they're going to see a surge in sales in the surrounding months because of the sheer amount of people getting into the open world games thanks to Rockstar. But Ubisoft is also expecting this game to come out in April of 2025 at the earliest, which more or less lines up with what other insiders have been saying about 2025. It's hilarious that these other gaming companies are planning everything around GTA 6. It's actually kind of brilliant if you think about it now. no matter what, Rockstar ends up putting out. The Take-Two CEO is extremely confident about its quality during the investors' call. The Take-Two CEO stated the game was in full-on group effort between the developer and the publisher, making sure everyone is on the same page and that the product is as good as possible. He stated, "We're seeking perfection, and when we feel we've optimized creatively, that will be time to give it to the public. Now, there is an inherent tension potentially between getting something to market and creating perfection, but this company errs on the side of perfection. I mean, come on, if only a could be handled with that attitude. Gaming space. So there you go. Ubisoft thinks GTA could launch in the spring, and they're playing all of their stuff around it. It's just crazy. It is a wild time in the gaming world. GTA 6 has ripple effects on everything. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you soon."